You're listening to Muzilogmuzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.
As we continue to make it a great day, whatever time it is on your end of the planet, I'm Samuel Archer, your host. It's the Anytime, Any Day radio show. That's right. Shout out to the International Village, my people around the world, from the mountains to the valley, to the in-between, hills and gully. Shout out to you guys. To my folks all over the world. It's anytime, any day radio show. Spreading love.
The Brooklyn way.
Yes. Shout out to my folks in Brooklyn. This is your boy, the one and only. And we're talking about the things I like to talk about. I don't know what you like to talk about, but on this radio show, I'm talking about the things that I like to talk about. That's right. I'm still looking out for that coffee company that wants to be down with the radio show, you know. And I believe you're out there. I believe, not that I believe. Let's flip that up. I know you're out there. You've been hearing the show. You have a coffee company, and you are procrastinating. You're hesitating. You kind of want to do it, but I don't know. I have some advice for you. I have some advice. Yeah. What did Nike say? Nike said, just do it. That's right. Sometimes you just got to do it. Shout out to the Anytimers. I know you guys love that, the Anytimers. Yeah, internets. Yeah, we're back. We're back. I know you guys missed me. It's been a couple of days. I do other things, I do other things. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but I'm just sharing. Let you know that, I do think about you guys when I'm not on air, when I think of things to talk about that I like to talk about on the show. And then I got to remember that the show is classified as a clean show. We got to keep it clean over here. My aunt would say, cleanliness is next to godliness. That's right. That's right. So we want to encourage the subscribers to smash the likes. I think we're a little bit under 1,500 subscribers. The numbers are going up. Thank you very much. We want to hit that 2,000 subscriber mark. If you have no idea where to go, well, chances are you're listening to this on YouTube, but if you're not, we're talking about the YouTube subscription. Now, we also have Mixcloud. We have a listenership over there. So if you're on the Mixcloud world, subscribe there too. Just subscribe. But yeah, generally we're talking about the YouTube channel where you're listening to this. So hit the subscribe button and smash the likes, according to Willie D from the Ghetto Boys. That's right. You just smash the like. So yes, help us get to 2,000 subscribers. Share the link. Tell everyone about the best radio show in the land. The Anytime, Anyday radio show with your host, Samuel Archer. That's right. Now, some of you, if you haven't checked it out yet, we've uploaded some new interviews on the Muzilog Magazine podcast. So get your finger butts over there and check out some of the shows. Yeah. And subscribe, and the podcast. Now, the podcast is a really cool type of a world, It's, you can get it on iTunes or the whole Apple family. You can get Muzilog Magazine podcast over there. Coffee. You get it on Spotify. Why don't I just pull up one of the pages here? I'll pull it up real quick. Yeah. Muzilog Magazine podcast. I think my computer is listening to me because I just put music and then what I'm looking for just came up to the top. These guys are tuning in. So, let's see here. So you can get Muzilog Magazine podcast on the Apple Podcasts. You can get it on TuneIn. Those of you from the TuneIn side of life. You can get it Spotify. You can also get it on Listen Notes. That's another platform. Look at that. Listen Notes. And, okay, let's go to the next page. And there's something called Podbay. Podbay. You can get Muzilog Magazine podcast episodes there. We're definitely all over YouTube. So it's a beautiful thing. And there are others, but these are the ones I mentioned there. They're the main groove. They are the main groove for now, yes. So check out the Muzilog Magazine podcast. Not to be confused with the Anytime, Anyday radio show with the soothing voice. I'm told my voice is soothing. That's what we're here to do. Yes. So we're gonna, rock a couple of things. And those of you who are tuning in to the muzilogmuzik radio, we have a special thing we do on the weekends. So on Saturday, it's Spiritual Saturdays. Sundays, it's Calypso and Soca. And on Mondays, Reggae Mondays. Shout out to the Jamaicans posse and all reggae music lovers. Yeah, there's a chance that your song, if you're an indie artist, your song could be in rotation. So gospel artists, soca and calypso artists, and reggae and dancehall artists, you could send your music in. Put it in rotation for you. Tell your fan base to tune in at Muzilogmuzik Radio. 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to hear your record on there. Muzilogmuzik Radio is the home of indie artists. So that's on the weekend, and during the week, from Tuesdays, we start a week on Tuesdays, by the way. We love having long weekends. So from Tuesday, we get into a regular programming. It's more music, soul, R&B, pop, some folk. We do it over there. I don't think anyone sent in a heavy metal record yet, so I'm gonna have to start a new station for heavy metal. I like heavy metal. Heavy metal and pop and some soft rock. You guys are familiar with soft rock. We mix it up. We do a talk show at 11 a.m. We have chat with Bree. 1 p.m. we have the Soul platform with Missy E. Party Doll. 3 p.m. we have the Indie Hookup with my big brothers Heston Cleveland and Ricardo Love out in the West. 5 p.m. we jam with Johnny Walker with the show Women Who Jam. It's a really good show, by the way. I mean, all the shows we have, really good shows. And then we have DJ Willie Dynamite on deck, and we put some of his shows in rotation. He definitely mixes it up. I want to actually publicly thank him for his mix. He did a DJ mix. We honored Slick Rick, the ruler, the other day. And we did a special thing on the radio, and we had DJ Willie Dynamite on the Wheels of Steel. And boy, did he cut up. He found some gems that I hadn't heard in years. Where you hiding them records? DJ Willie Dynamite. And normally on Sundays, you'd hear musical mix, DJ musical mix, also on deck. Although we do have a couple other DJ shows that what's the word I would say? We forcefully acquired these DJ mixes. I don't think the DJs even knew. They might just hear one day, hey, I heard your mix on a radio station. It's called Muzilogmuzik Radio. You familiar with that? So we may have some anonymous DJs. Shout out to DJ Gel. We jacked a few of his mixes, especially for our Soca Sunday. Shout out to him and the crew. And shout out to my girl Nikki G, the voice. You hear her doing our station IDs, even on the beginning of my radio show here, beginning of the Anytime, Anyday radio show, that station ID voice, that's Nikki G, the voice, so if you're looking for someone like that, check her out. I think I'll probably put her link in the description area. It's not going to be in the bio. We don't do link in the bio over here. Get it together. But we'll have that link in the description. And also, we also have the Terry Green project on deck too. Terry Green has been rocking. She has a couple of DJs on board with her, and they've been coming up with some amazing mixes. So you hear the Terry Green project all over. If you love dance music, again, Muzilogmuzik Radio is the home of indie artists. We're building a lovely community over there. So if you're a musician, you're a recording artist, you're putting out music, and you want to get your jam in rotation somewhere, send it through. Muzilogmuzik at Gmail. And music is spelled M-U-Z-I-K. All right. Muzilog is M-U-Z-I-L-O-G. Muzilogmuzik at gmail.com. MP3 is preferred. And we'll get that in rotation. And also you can put in a request for an interview. Yeah. Now again, that's not to be confused with the Anytime, Anyday radio show, because this radio show, I talk about the things that I like to talk about. Talking about that, I have a couple of friends. They like to heckle me every now and then. One said, I listened to you talk to yourself for 2 hours. Yeah. Another one said, boy, you can really talk. See, what these guys don't know is that I have listeners that need to hear my soothing voice. So I'm doing there's a job here, there's an assignment to have my soothing voice in the mix. And you can tune in. And you can actually just play all the different episodes. This is episode 6. Yes. So maybe one day you might want to do the Anytime, Anyday radio marathon. Do a whole marathon. You just play me all day. That's what's up. I will do my best to keep you in good spirits and keep the vibe alive. Keep you guys all in check. Like Busta Rhymes. I'm correct. Yes. I found out that I'm a rebel without a pause. Yes. I don't pause with my rebellious side, apparently. Something interesting happened the other day. I got an email from my aggregator. I've been rocking with CD Baby for a couple of years, and they've been a nice company for indie artists. Yeah, CD Baby, they're in the history books. They're pretty much one of the first there's a unique type of a story behind CD Baby, Derek Sivers, the founder. He has a book called Anything You Want. It's a really good book. And he tells the story of, how CD Baby started and how he started. Really inspirational book. Anyway, I got this email, and the email was to inform me that Spotify decided to take down my album, Soul Music Vineyard. Yeah, they took it down. And a few years ago, I would say maybe 2 to 3 years ago, Apple took the record down. Apple Music took the record down. Apparently, they said the streams were irregular. It's interesting. Now, the situation with Apple it was unforeseeable. It was a situation where I worked with a third-party company, and what they were to do on the platform was just put some of my records on a playlist. There was a song that I was promoting at the time, and my understanding was, okay, well, this person managed different playlists and would introduce the music, curated. So you're not doing anything wrong with that. You just have someone who manages playlists. A lot of different people either put their own playlists together and the third company apparently boosted the streams unknowns to me. So I don't remember if it's 2022 or 2023, somewhere down there. And they took it down. So since that time, I didn't really do any third-party marketing with anybody since that time. So it was just interesting that Spotify, a few years later, your streams are irregular. I found that, I don't want to say interesting, because, interest means there's, I don't plan to investigate that. But I do wonder why companies like this exist. Why? Music, yes, it's packaged for business. It's commercialism type of a format, but if you understand music, if you understand composing and writing, when a piece of music is created, it's an artifact. It's something that will signify something about the like an identity of the society. When civilizations are reviewed, the ones from thousands of years ago, and the art tells a lot about the civilization. You look at the structures of the buildings. They look at the hieroglyphs and the different things that they paint on the walls, and you even see some of the instruments that were used for music. It's that sort of a thing, so to have people like Apple Music and Spotify, where to them it's just business. It's a whole business thing, and they don't have the capacity to even understand where they fit in the equation. They're not record companies. It's not like Spotify gave me a record deal, Apple didn't give me a record deal. They didn't pay for anything. I paid for everything. I paid the aggregator to get my music in the system. And for those of you who don't know, aggregators are the companies that indie artists we have to go through. So they vet the music and put it up in the system. And it's a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie about that. It's a crazy job. It's ugly. Excuse me. It's an ugly job, because I think we're about a little bit over 100,000 songs being uploaded per day between all the aggregators. Could you imagine that? There's a lot of music going up per day. So I do respect the work ethic there. And companies that are aggregators would be, I'll mention some of the top ones. CD Baby, which I mentioned before. You have TuneCore, DistroKid, United Masters, The Orchard. You have one called, I think Symphonic Distribution came on later on. There's a few more others out there. And these companies, they're just into distributing. They don't really understand the complexities as to how these projects are made. So it's easy for them to just, drink some Starbucks, scratch their nuts, and say, oh, we'll take this down. They don't understand the sacred connection to the universe when you decide to take somebody's music down. It's a sacred connection. If I happen to go somewhere, maybe the forest or the jungle or a country, and I find a cave, and there's writing in the cave, and there's stuff in the cave that someone did many moons ago, I don't have the right to take those things down, clean them off the wall, because there's a sacred connection to know that someone put this here before. That belongs to that place, whatever that is. If it's a country or a city or a town, or they're in charge of that, and it has to be preserved. And that is the sacred connection I'm talking about. Spotify and Apple, they don't understand that sacred connection. They're just in the commercialism space. Oh, these look irregular. And, if something looks irregular, I would think the obvious thing to do is to reach out to the record company. Technically, the artist is the record company. And you can reach out to the artist and say, hey, we noticed that you have your regular streams. What's going on? And investigate it. But they don't contact the record company or the artist. They contact the aggregator. I mean, the magnitude of the stupidity of that is beyond. It's funny. The aggregator didn't create the record. So why talk to the aggregator? All the aggregator did was vet the record and said, hey, it's sonically good. The artwork is good. It's loaded up. That's all they do. They didn't pay for anything. They were paid to do that. You need to get to the artist. So now Spotify threatens the aggregators, which again is another stupid, like, who sits in a room and comes up with these rules? Like, they want to penalize the aggregators if someone is using some sort of a system to boost the streams on their platforms. Again, you know, that's like going and charge the ocean for having a high tide and some extra waves. Like, really? That baffles me, but hey. And the reality is, the artist wrote the songs, if the artist is a songwriter, or selected the songs. However, the artist acquired the songs were acquired. They were prepared and prepped to be recorded. They got recorded, they got worked on and edited and mixed, mastered, you know, and money, the artist is paying the musicians, paying the engineer, paying the studio time, paying the photographer. They're paying for everything. All the way down. And when the stuff is ready to go, then the artist chooses an aggregator to work with, to vet the music, to distribute it to the storefronts. Apple is a storefront, and Spotify is a storefront. That, you know, either I can go to the record store down the street and flip through the records, or I could go to the record store in the convenience of my home and either stream a record or take a subscription with somebody and have access to the record that I want to check out and go the streaming route with it. How does the store decide to make a choice? Like, the store is saying to the distributor, are there irregular sales taking place? We're taking it down. Stupid. Now, I did have some fans that, when the Apple thing happened, because, there were some people in Apple that had playlists, and they had some of my songs from the project in the playlist, and noticed that these songs were missing. So I said, hey, Sam, what happened to your record? And that's when I realized how impactful it is when they take the stuff. Because these were people I didn't even knew that they had some of my music in their playlist. They were checking out my music. And I know for sure, because I see the stats and the algorithms in platforms like Chartmetric and Soundchart, that there were a lot of playlists with my records from the Spotify side. And it's weird. So they're seeing irregularities. And I told my aggregator, I said, look, I haven't boosted anything. I didn't contact any company. I didn't say, hey, let's get this company and pay them some money to boost anything, to boost streams. I didn't do anything. I mean, the record came out in 2021, I think. Somewhere around there. Soul Music Vineyard. I'm not really marketing the record right now. It's just whatever it is doing, it's doing. So they're not even being fair about what actions they want to take. They just want to take an action. And they say, we'll take the record down. And I'm like, you know what, guys? You can have at it. Enjoy your company. Enjoy it while it lasts, because there would be some other technology that shows up where the artist has more control, and depending on how you treat people will determine how long you last in the industry. So have at it, guys. But those of you who want to get my record, if the need arises, Soul Music Vineyard is available on Bandcamp. It's available on Amazon Prime. You can get it on Tidal. There's Deezer, YouTube, and other streaming platforms. And, Apple and Spotify, they're like two of the top, popular ones. So the two of the top important ones that's out there. But they don't understand the sacred connection that any company that deals with any type of art should have. They're just blinded by the commercialism and how much money the top people can make per year, and they scratch their nuts and drink a Starbucks and play golf. Knock yourselves out, guys. That's okay. I'll be all right. But anyway, if you were wondering, you're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. One of the things I want to do with this show is, we're going to pull the plug a little bit on focus, replenish. That's the vibe here. We want to replenish and talk about the things I like to talk about. Just relax and groove and chill and think. happy thoughts. Or maybe something intellectual, something to get your juices flowing, creative juices, or if you have other juices, I'm not going to discriminate as long as you keep it clean. But we're here to replenish the mind, body, and soul so you can get back to dealing with the ongoing challenges of life. And guess what? Challenges are going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming, yeah. When my kids talk about life, they share with me something that they had to deal with, I say, hey, welcome to life. And then I say, you know what? And then they go, what? I say, it's not going to get easier. So, buckle up, buttercup. Life is a crazy ride. But if you take the time to tune into the Anytime, Anyday radio show, and it could replenish the energy, I promise you, that when you get back to that problem you gotta solve, you'll see a few answers popping up in the mind as to things you can do to take it to the next level. Now you see, if that coffee company worked out a deal with me, every time I took a sip of the coffee, I can mention the coffee name, So keep procrastinating. I know you'll get to me soon. I'll get that call one day. So I want to take a commercial spotlight and promote my book, The Hybrid Executive. It's available on all ebook platforms, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Book Baby. And we still are running the business card promotion package on the Muzilog platforms, $150 for the year. And we would promote your business on the website. And when we put out an email blast, newsletter type thing, we'll make sure we feature you on that too. And we also have the Hybrid Executive gear. By the way, we do have the Anytime, Anyday radio show gear, obviously. So those of you who want to get down, the Anytimers, you want to show your support, you want to show your love, yeah, go on and make a purchase. And those of you who just want to donate, that's all that information is in the description. Jump in there and pick what you want. Work it from there. That's what's up. So, we're going to do a challenge. In one of the previous shows, I don't think it was the last show, not episode 5, I think it was episode 4. I spoke about flowers, smiles, hugs, and hickeys. And I thought, this is a cool title for a poem. So I wanna see how many poets wanna jump on this topic. Flowers, smiles, hugs, and hickeys. Yeah. And now we're doing this for bragging rights, okay? This is not no, well, you're gonna get a gas card, a card with what is it? What do we call it? A card with gas, $20 at Amoco or nah. This is just for bragging rights. You do the poem, send it through to me. And I'll read it on here, I think if I could get maybe at least 5 I think like 5 poems should be good. You know what? The thing I want you to do though, I want you to have fun with it. I don't want it to be too serious. Unless that's the vibe. I mean, if it hits you on a serious thing, hey, back on knees. But I think it could be a fun type of a challenge, Flowers, smiles, hugs, and hickeys. Yes. What would be interesting is if we have any guys that write poems. The men, if you're a poet, it'd be cool to check out your point of view on the topic. But this is the topic you're going to go with. The topic would be flowers, smiles, hugs, and hickeys. Yes. So yeah, get your pens out and some paper. Excuse me, and get cracking. I'd love to read a couple of those. Let's see if we can get some of those. If not for episode 7, definitely for episode 8. Yes. Hopefully you've had your hug today. Hopefully you smiled. Or you're going to smile. Maybe you're smiling right now listening to the show. Whatever it is, let those pearly whites get some glory for the day. Yeah. Now the flowers thing, if you want to give some flowers, that's cool. And then the hickey thing, that might be a little touchy too. You can't just be going around giving people hickeys, They may not think it's a nice gesture. Oh, I'm going to give you a hickey. Like, what? Yeah, that's So be careful out there. Don't be try to be giving people hickeys that you don't know. That would just be one of those things. One of the things I also want to do while we're at it is there's an organization I've been rocking with for the last 5 years. It's called Women Songwriters Hall of Fame. What's up? I want to congratulate them on doing their 5th year. 5 years in 2025 of awarding amazing women in music. I want to give a shout out and honor for the founder. And her name is Janice McLean DeLoach. Shout out to you, my dear, and your crew that worked with you. I was actually supposed to go. In fact, I was supposed to go for the last 3 years. I can't get there yet. But I heard this one was a really good one. heard it was pretty good. So, you know, that's good. That's good. I'm just happy that you know, they didn't fall short and canceled 1 year. It's tough, you know, when you're doing these things, you know, when you cancel 1 year, it's really hard to pick up the pieces for the following year. So you gotta keep it going, you know, especially when you're building something. And I think, not that I think, I'm reading some of the information here and browsing through the FB page. So Claudia Jordan, the TV personality and model, Claudia Jordan, hosted the event. Shout out to her. And people who were honored was Janice Ian, Asha Puthli, Christina Susho, Geneva Magnus, Vicky Peterson. There's some amazing ladies here. Regina Bell, Melba Moore, Brenda Russell. Brenda Russell is in my top 5 songwriters. Amazing songwriter, Brenda Russell. Shout out to her. Dr. Stacy L. Smith and Julie Griot. And the late Sylvia Moy. So these were all the honorees. And I was looking at a clip on Facebook here, and it seems like Melissa Morgan would be honored in 2026. Shout out to Melissa Morgan. Amazing artist. It's beautiful. You know, I remember seeing Regina Bell at the Summer Park events in Brooklyn, New York. Senator Markowitz was... I think initially he was the borough president at the time. I think he was the borough president of Brooklyn. Senator Markowitz, really, really powerful guy. I hope he's doing well. I don't even know if he's still alive. It's been so long. So let's hope he's doing well. And those of you who might know him, just send him good regards. You know. So Regina Bell was at Wingate. We were outside of Wingate High School. They would use Wingate Park to do the event. And I was in the crowd, right? And what happened? Something interesting happened. Have you ever been in a place with a lot of us? And you just see people running and you start running too? So Regina is singing. I don't remember what song it was, obviously. But she did have the Baby Come to Me record was out. That was a really big record. Baby Come to Me. Yeah, that's the record right there. So she's singing, right? And so this thing happens. And, you know, people started running, you know, like, and maybe it was a false alarm. You know, we don't know what it is. Nighttime, you're outside, you know. She kept it professional. And when that song was finished, Regina Bell gave us a tongue lashing, boy. I'm sure whoever was misbehaving in the audience, they got it together. We didn't want Regina coming down spanking everybody in the at Wingate. Congratulations, Regina, on your award at Whisper. I had Melba Moore. Now, my story with Melba Moore is interesting. The same record I spoke about that got pulled off of Apple and Spotify a couple of years ago was doing really well on Amazon. The Amazon charts. You know, the Amazon has a soul music chart. You know, I think I have a picture on the wall here. Yes, I have a picture where my record is number 1. And like she had just dropped a record called Imagine. This is what it's like. I think this is her latest record, Imagine. And when I took that picture with my album being number 1, so the thing on Amazon is that everything happens in real time. It's like, so you could be number 1 this morning, and then this evening is a totally different record, or maybe midday it's something else. So I took a snapshot, and that might have been the last snapshot with my record at number 1. Because Melba Moore literally ran me out of the top 10 with her Imagine record. Shout out to Melba Moore. She probably looked at the chart and said, "Okay, honeys, that's nice. I'm dropping Imagine right now, Let Auntie's taking the stage." And someone else I followed did that to me. Mesa did that to me, too. Mesa Leak, another artist that I like from the Maryland area. She, I have a record right here, too. Music for Your Soul album. So she drops this record, Music for Your Soul. And around the time she dropped that record, I had a song on my album was in the top 10. That was Like I Love You, featuring Lazaro the King. And it's on the charts. And Mesa did the same thing to me. There was a couple of us in the top. It was a good, nice little number in the top 10. I don't remember who else was in the top 10 on the singles side. And she did the same thing. She's like, "All right, guys, that's nice. But you'll go sit over there. I'm about to drop my record." And she drops this record and like 10 songs. And like you just saw her album just took over the top 10. I was like, oh my God. Mesa just kicked me off the charts. Yeah. But I didn't mind, It wasn't like, I enjoyed the kick. Yeah, she kicked us off. She said, that's okay, guys. Nice. That's nice. I'm dropping my record now. She just took over the chart. For a couple of days, by the way. Oh, it was a spanking. So I got spanked by Mesa and the Melba Moore things. Totally spanked out. And then to add insult to injury, PJ Morton had just dropped Watch the Sun. And my record was just dancing in the top, well, let's say the top 5. It'd be number 1, and then it would, so his record kind of battled me for a little bit. You ever looked at a kung fu, you look at a kung fu flick, or kick up, and, 2 guys are fighting, and maybe for the first half a minute, the fight seems kind of equal, like, and then the both guys look at each other like, "Oh, you can fight." And they go, "Hey, you're good. But let's see you block these." And I couldn't block anything else. He just took over the chart. No, and so it makes sense to you. The PJ Morton situation was the album chart. And I think with Melba Moore, it was the singles chart. Right? So you've had on the singles, she took over the couple of the top, I don't think it was like the top 10 songs, but let's say like for the first 5 positions or 6 positions, Melba had those songs there. Same thing with Mesa. And then on the album portion, so this is like the whole album. This is where I was battling the PJ Morton Watch the Sun record. And truth be told, I mean, his record is nice. He has a couple of good records on there. So, what a record to kick me off the chart. I think when Soul Music Vineyard dropped, that record had kicked off Eric Roberson record. It was Eric Roberson's, what record was that? And that's a pretty good record too. And then Soul Music Vineyard came in, did its thing. And hey, it was lovely. So shout out again to Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame. And, if you're up and coming artists and a young lady, depending on, I guess there's no expiration on the dream until you're out of here type thing. Get with the organization. They have a lot of resources there for artists. They do mixes, they do lectures and seminars, things that are provide a lot of resource. So you wanna get with that. So one of the things I want to touch on is investing. The idea of investing, and why is investing so much? And I think I'm going to talk about investing on various shows. We got to bring the idea of putting into action something, the thing that the universe gave you, and this is not just for creatives. This is not just for creatives. This is for anyone that you have a desire to, have a certain type of career. You feel a calling in that direction. I mean, I'm in the world of music, so yes, I'll relate to it from that side. But it could be, you could be going after a career in law, or medicine, education, athletics. Where you want to go. You know what your desire is. You know what you're good at. So what's that thing? What's that? Why do we get here? I know how we get here. A lot of it has to do with the type of parents you might have had. Or what did you have available to you growing up? Those things you had available to you, which helped to shape you, your formative years. What were the things you dealt with in your formative years that, it sort of pushed you on a certain path. And you had to either jump on a plan where, you have a job and it pays and you pay the bills. which is good. No one is saying a job is bad. So you have the job dynamic, and then you have the dynamic of, a career. Not necessarily a dream job. What is a dream job? I prefer to say a career, because that's your burning desire. Because with a career, you have a really, if you achieve your career, I should say, I'm getting tongue twisted here. It's not like you'll be working, because you'd be doing what you were made to do. The passion is there, the commitment is there, the energy is there. No one has to be a taskmaster for you. Everything is right there, ready to go. And that's a career. The job, is subordinates, superiors, supervisors, managers, the boss. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a whole other thing. And some people like that. That's how they survive. They get into that sort of a dynamic. And again, no shade. I'm not here to throw shade on anyone, but should you invest in yourself? Should you take the dynamic of money serious? Is money supposed to be does it determine what value or morals, is it just a tool that you use? What's that thing? What's that deciding factor? Now, there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. You guys probably heard about that. I'm not going to read that on here. But I'm going to look at the key lessons of the morals from the book. Some of these I do great at, and some I suck. Welcome to the Suck Fest. Yeah. So, there's a quote here. Start thy purse to fattening, control thy expenses, make thy gold multiply, guard thy treasures, and invest wisely. That's it right there. Start thy purse to fattening, control thy expenses, make thy gold multiply, and guard thy treasures, and invest wisely. How many of us invest wisely or even guard the treasure? Something to think about. It's rhetorical. But if we look at where it says here, the key lessons here, first one it says, pay yourself first. idea is save at least 10% of what you earn before spending on anything else. You know, I've heard this so many times, but do I actually do it? Do I actually do it? Save at least 10% of what you earn before spending on anything else. Pay yourself first. So any timers or cyberlife junkies or straight shooters, pay yourself first. Now the question is, how do you pay yourself? Do you put it in something, in an account? Do you cash it out and put it under the bed? But that's for you guys to decide. You figure out how you're going to pay yourself and where you're going to put that 10%. So, let's see something. I'm pulling up my calculator here before I even jump in. I'm just, my mind is wandering. So I think I should just go with the wandering here. Now let's say I'm making $300 a week. That's approximately $1,200 a month. Wow, I mean, who's doing this right now? $300 a week? That's a rough job. So if you're making $1,200, so it's $1,200 a month, and you multiply that by 12, you're making a little bit under $15,000 a year. Now, I guess this is for the kid that's living in the house and doing a summer job, maybe. They probably have a part-time job and they're making a little something. Why don't I look up the minimum wage in the U.S.? Minimum wage in the USA. Look at that, guys. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 per hour. Ooh, that's rough. Let's see, $7.25, and you're expected to work 40 hours a week. That's $290, guys. So yeah, $300, same thing. Kind of like, it's kind of like in the same neighborhood. Now that's the federal minimum wage. I think it's different in different states. So you'd have to look that up, And this is interesting. It says this rate has been in effect since 2009. Isn't that interesting? So since 2009, the federal minimum wage has not raised. I think Obama was in office at this time. Shout out to Obama. They said he didn't do anything. Well, he raised the minimum wage, apparently. But it says here, in some states, the minimum wage, so this is not the federal, now this is just a certain state. So like New York is $16.50 per hour. DC is $17.50 per hour. And I guess California is like New York, $16.50. And I don't know what this is Washington. I don't know if it's Washington, Seattle. It's probably Washington. Out on the West Coast on the top, $16.66. That's what they're showing us here. Wow, let me see. Federal law allows employers to pay tipped employees a direct cash wage of $2.13 per hour, as long as the employee's tips bring their total hourly earnings up to the federal minimum wage of $7.25. Well, it's rough. Guys, be sure to tip your waiter, okay? Tip your waiter well. And tip the bartender well, too. You don't want to not be tipping those guys well. So why don't we go with the New York numbers here? Let's go with $17 an hour. Okay, so 17 by 40 hours a week, right? $680 a week. I think I could live with that a little bit better. 680 multiplied by 4. 4 weeks in a month. So now you're coming with, $2,720 here. This looks a little more sensible in today's world, yeah. And then you multiply this by 12, 12 months in the year. So you're making a little under $33,000 a year. So let's divide this by 52. It's 52 weeks in a year, right? 627. So yeah, give and take. Now, so at $17 by 40 hours a week, $680 per week. By 10%, that'll be $68, guys. If you save $68 per week, so let's multiply that by 4. So that's $272 a month. $272 a month. Multiply that by 12. That's $3,264. Now, I could use $3,264 right now. I'm just saying. Can you use $3,264 right now? I think I could use that right now. So maybe there's some sense to this paying yourself first thing. Now, if I have any church-going people, I guess they're probably wondering, so where do I take the tithes from? Tithes and offerings for church. I would let you guys talk about that and work it out. Well, I just worked a little bit of water there. Okay, so the first one, it says pay yourself first. And the second moral of the story here, from the rich man of Babylon, it says here, live below your means. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Don't spend more just because you earn more. That's a good lesson. You see how we do it at the Anytime, Anyday radio show? We bring that good game to you. That knowledge, the vibe. So yeah. Now, how many of you would live below your means? I think we all are at some given time. We're like really making it, we're trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents, right? That's what many of us are doing. So I don't think we're really busting out living above our means. But maybe we could do better. Live below the means. Let's see what else it says here. Make your money work for you. Make your money work for you. Invest wisely so your savings can grow through interest or returns. Make your money work for you. So I guess the question is, what does it mean to invest wisely? Because you want your savings to grow. You know, and I read this and I even think about those of us who subscribed to having some life insurance, you know. And by the way, if you don't have that set up yet, I suggest you work on that. You know, get your get a company vibe going. I do know someone, by the way, that can help with that. So I'm going to put their information in the description as well. You know, if you want to consider investing wisely, you know, since tomorrow isn't promised, you know, you got to make haste while night is day. And especially people in the melanated experience, you know, we're very late in doing a lot of these types of things. Unfortunately, you know, we've been messed up in many ways. So there's a lot of curbing we have to do as a people, as a community, and you know, is understanding money, understanding value, understanding investing in yourself, investing in you know, all of this. It all works together here. The other key advice, it says, avoid risky investments. Seek advice from those with experience. Don't chase get-rich-quick schemes. Well, yeah. That's a risky investment. Chasing get-rich-quick schemes. So, avoid risky investments. The other key advice here is increase your ability to earn. It says constantly improve your skills and knowledge to boost earning potential. So, basically it's saying here, you know, along with research, you have to do your research. Speak to professionals, you know, speak to people in the game. Maybe you have a good accountant. You know, maybe get some information. And in fact, you know, I'm going to share that too. There's some accountants I work with up in the Pocono areas there. They've been rocking with me for a few years. They're pretty good at what they do. I think I'm going to put them in the chat as well. I mean, not the chat, sorry, the description thing. You know, if you guys want to get that, you know. So yeah, life insurance is a good thing to get. Paying yourself 10% of your salary when you get it. You can get up to a little bit over $3,000 a year. Yeah, that's the way we got to look at money, guys. You got to look at it on the long term. Got to be a long term type thing. There's no instant gratification. The other key advice here is to be persistent and patient. Wealth doesn't come overnight. Consistent effort and discipline build lasting prosperity. That's kind of deep right there. Good stuff. This is good stuff here. So it says here, if you manage money wisely, save consistently, and make smart choices, you can achieve financial freedom regardless of how much you start with. Yes. This is some good information here, guys. Hoping this helps, and I'm sure you can pull up The Richest Man in Babylon. It's all over the internet. You should be able to even, if you can't really get with the reading, you should be able to get the audio book or the audio version somewhere on YouTube. I'm sure somebody out there has that. This is good stuff here. And, I'm going to keep looking at these types of topics because I want what I bring to the table be conversation pieces. I like bringing conversation pieces that folks can conversate and edify and lift, lift the mind up a little bit, edify the mind, and really improve our chances here and understanding money and how folks get down. So again, I want to take a commercial spotlight and talk about hybrid executive ebook. If you want it to be turned into an audiobook, you get Speechify, and you can have Snoop Dogg read the book for you. And they have other celebrities on the platform. Obviously, it's a digital version or maybe an AI version of the thing in Speechify. So you get that, you get the ebook, and not just my ebook, but any other ebook that you're interested in getting in. And it turns it into an audiobook for you. But yeah, you can get the hybrid executive. I haven't had a bad review yet. I'll put my head on a block with that one. Putting this book together was amazing. Like when you look back at it, and I look back at putting this book. This book was supposed to be a pamphlet. And the reason why it was supposed to be a pamphlet is around 91, I had a group, we were in New York, a gospel group called Highlight. And we ended up putting out a single. We put out a single, with 2 songs. And one of the songs ended up on the radio. We got a blessing by a gentleman called Van J. He was the program director at WWRL, which was a gospel station at the time. I don't think it's gospel anymore. But it was a black radio station. They played gospel, and the record was called Do You Love Me? It got played on the station. I actually talk about it in the book, in Hybrid Executive. So it was supposed to be a pamphlet. It was a how-to, because I would have a lot of people talking to me after, hey, how did you do the single? We had all these aspiring artists in New York. So I was just be getting all these calls and, not understanding at the time I was actually I was being consulted, or I'm in that moment I'm a consultant and I'm giving advice. So I thought, hey, it's a good idea to put a pamphlet together. So I put this pamphlet together with a typewriter, by the way, guys. Still the typewriter days. We don't have now it's a lot better because you can open up your computer and open Word or Pages or whatever it is you use and start typing your ideas out, and you could change the fonts, you can do all types of stuff. I just had this typewriter. So I do the booklet or the pamphlet thing. It wasn't a booklet, a pamphlet. And I realized I left out a few things. I said, hey, I left out this and I left out that. And so it gradually would be something that I would write to. And, every now and then I would forget about it. It would be in a drawer somewhere or a box somewhere. And every few years I'll see this thing like, hey, this is my book. And I'm dusting it off. And the book took, I would say nearly 20 years to be written. And I think when I started doing my degree, there was something that struck me. There might have been like one or two subjects where the book they had listed as the book we were going to use as a textbook. That book, those books became obsolete while I'm in the program. And mostly we were using like current events and clippings from the news to do the course. And I said, well, yeah, I can't do that to my book. So I had to change my book from a how-to book to a book where I took everything that I wrote in there and changed it into concepts. Because with concepts, the methods of things would change, but the concepts remained the same. And it wasn't easy, but, I was able to work it where I took everything from a how-to and turn it into a concept book. So I speak about concepts, and regardless of how technology would, whatever directions it would take, the concept would remain the same. And I was fortunate to have the book done by, I think it might have been 2019. So 2018, I went to the CD Baby conference. And I made a vow, like, I'm going to have my book ready for next year. And this is a thing that when you give yourself a goal, your inner self, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but your inner self would hear you. And truth be told, I forgot about that. I said it. So I go through the year, and CD Baby Conference is coming up again, and I'm working towards it. And I literally had a couple of copies ready for the following CD Baby. And it's when I actually went to the conference, I remembered, I said, I remembered saying the year before, when I get back to the conference, I'll have my book available. And I actually had copies of the book available. And I sold a few, hallelujah. Jesus, yeah. So that was a nice little challenge, getting the book ready. It bears a lot of my heart and soul into it. It's passionate. Now, you got to be passionate about a subject anyway to even say you're going to put a book out. Yes, I went balls out, guys. Balls out. You got to be brave with it. Get it out there regardless of what it is. And we still have the business card promotion package going on. So whatever your business is, it does not have to be music related. You can be an author, you can be a business person, real estate, law firm, entertainment law. Whatever industry you're into that may be beneficial to other indie artists, it's $150 for the year. So take advantage of our business card promotion package. And we also have hybrid executive gear. Yeah, around the book, hybrid executive. And we also have gear for the Anytime, Anyday radio show. So you can even purchase some gear for the radio show with your host, Samuel Archer. The guy with the soothing voice. That's right, because I know my voice is soothing. Yes. So, that was a nice little commercial spotlight. Now, in my last episode 5, I spoke about women beautify. And I asked, well, if women beautify, what do men do? And, I wanted it to rhyme a little bit, wanted it to say something. So I looked online and they say women beautify and men groom. They is it groom? Yeah, I think they say men groom. So because I thought it would go with the word handsome, because they say women are beautiful, men are handsome. So I thought, if women are beautiful and they beautify, if men are handsome, what do men, what? But I couldn't find the word. It said groom. So when you're cleaning up, you're grooming, right? You clean your hair up and so on. Because I don't think the men could beautify, although they say that men also beautify, and that's left to be seen. I don't think in my mind that I beautify. I mean, I do take the showers, clean up, rub some lotion or cream, whatever, moisturize. I don't like to use the word moisturize. I was just there. So I came up with a word. You guys tell me how this word, if you feel this word. If women beautify, listen well now, it's coming up. If women beautify, men groomify. Applause. I know, it might be a tongue twister for some of you, But I thought groomify, groom, you're grooming, right? So you groomify, yeah. I think that's a good word, Now, I don't think it exists yet. So you guys would have to probably use it for a little bit. And so, if the men go to the bathroom and the ladies are there in the bathroom area and they're in the front of the mirrors, and you say, honey, what are you doing? And she says, well, I am beautifying, So if it's the other way around and she's asking him what he is doing, he can say, I'm groomifying. Oh my God. Could you imagine having an English teacher hearing that? Oh my God. That would be like taking some nails and scratching it on a blackboard. They'll be looking at you like, okay, You certainly have too much time on your hands. I know. So I saw this on a t-shirt, a friend of mine's. Actually, the person wearing the t-shirt went to high school with me in Tobago. And on her t-shirt, it said, in the picture now, in the breast area, by the way, it was right by the breast area. Well, you guys who are breast men, it's good to have good words in the breast area, guys. So, because what would attract you to read would not be what you're reading. But it's good to be, to get be attracted first. And then now you have something educational to read. When you look. I know. Ladies, you wouldn't understand that. It's a guy thing. But this was really good. I thought it was a good saying. It says, girls compete and women empower. Lord have mercy. Girls compete and women empower. That's a bar. Of course, and I want to know what the guys do. So girls compete, women empower. Like, but I don't think the boys competing and the men empower. Although men can empower you, right? You have men who can. In fact, I'm committed to empowering the ladies. In our melanin experience, the melanated family. I'm committed to empowering women as we go, and I'm saying that respectfully. Don't put the breast thing in there. The breast thing was just a joke. So take out the breast stuff and all of that other stuff, and you're into empowering. And I have daughters, so obviously I'm compelled to empower. So yeah. So what do the guys do? So I thought about it and I said, let me check out ChatGPT. Everyone is on this ChatGPT stuff, and they're starting a 20-day program, and they want to teach you all this AI stuff. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get with this ChatGPT thing. And I'm about to do this, and I just flashed back to the time when, we're in Tobago. My dad is still alive, of course, and the way how the kitchen is set up, he's in the kitchen, but the TV is facing us in the living room area. And we will, it was sort of like around that time when they changed they started using phones in the story in the TV show, So we're watching this show, and the phone is ringing in the scene. It's a scene, and then the phone is ringing. But the phone is ringing exactly like how our phone in the house rings. So my dad was doing something in the kitchen, and he's hearing the phone ringing, and he's ringing so many times. So my dad says, Sammy, answer the phone. Now, obviously, you can't really laugh at, I grew up in a time you can't laugh at the authority in the room. You had to kind of keep that respect going. So I said, Dad, it's the TV. There's a scene on the TV with, he said, oh, it's a TV. Okay. And he was ready to get serious too. Like, come on. You can't answer the phone? get up and answer the phone. You know, it almost went into that type of a thing. I'm like, no, Dad. Anyway, but yeah. So anyway, you know, I went into ChatGPT just to say, well, what would the technology give me here? It's interesting. Now, I would have to research this to see if this is used before. I don't know. I didn't ask for like references or nothing. You know, it just. I think sometimes it does give you references, but excuse me, I just need it for that talking point right now. But if you want to research it, hey, by all means. I don't know everything, by the way. I might be well read in some areas, but I really don't know everything. You know how long you have to live to know everything? Yeah. You'd have to live for maybe about, I'd say maybe about 1,500 years. I think if you could live for about 1,500 years, you will know everything. But anyway, that's besides the point. So it says here, boys compare and men uplift. What are the boys comparing here? So it says, young boys may often look at others to gauge their own worth, leading to competition or insecurity. Interesting. Yeah. Those of you who are in the world of psychology, you know, this might make sense to you. Sort of like there's some form of comparison. But you also have the dynamic of the males that are dominant, or you know the term that we're talking about, or the beta. You know, so you'd have that dynamic there as well. You know, it's interesting here. So I guess this is where the whole testosterone thing comes in, and you know, either they want to compete or there's that dynamic going. But it says here, men uplift. Mature men ideally grow to support others, offer mentorship, and build strong relationships based on respect and collaboration. Men uplift, boys compare. Okay, so you think that's a good? So let's go back to where it says girls compete. Girls compete. Women empower. Boys compare. And men uplift. Yeah. Well, I guess this is where the alpha thing comes into, you know, the alpha males and so on. So I thought this was, you know, it was a good thing to talk about there. Now, one of the things I also want to suggest as you guys go through life is to, and I said this in the last show, and I'll keep saying this because we're in a visual world right now, and I think with the more visual things that we have going on, it doesn't leave enough space for imagination. You see, before TV came into to be the thing, you know, we listened to the radio, you know, and then so we had to imagine the voice. So you hear a voice. If you've never you never saw the person, in a way you imagine who's talking. Maybe the voice created a picture in the mind, and so that imaginative muscle in the mind worked. And then TV came out, but the technology in TV wasn't advanced as it is now. So there was still some sort of a imaginative thing going on. So I remember looking at some of the Spider-Man movies from the 80s. Woo. And in that time I thought it was the greatest thing. Like, hey, Spider-Man. And these actually showed in the movies, but then when you looked at it, it was probably more of a TV movie type thing, which was the situation anyway, because again, it didn't have the technology. But when they brought Spider-Man back, what year did they bring Spider-Man back? With is it Tobey Maguire? Let me look that up real quick here. Let's look that up really quick. Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Yeah. Good actor, by the way. Yeah, he has a couple of films that I like. Tobey Maguire. But yeah, he's, in fact, out of all the Spider-Mans that I looked at, I think he is my favorite Spider-Man actor there. So it says here, 2002. No, that's not right. Okay. So it came out. When did this come out? Is this the first one? So okay. So the first one is saying it's 2002. Yeah. And this is directed by Sam Raimi, yeah, so it says here, Spider-Man 2002, and then it had Spider-Man 2 that came out in 2004, and then it had Spider-Man 3 that came out in 2007. So I'm saying that the whole Spider-Man thing to say this, talking about imaginative things here. When I saw the trailer for the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, it was literally exactly like what I saw Spider-Man doing in my mind when I read the comic books as a teenager, if that makes sense. So it means that the technology got better. It means that there was less imaginative room, because now they're doing the thing as you would imagine it. So, if the visual is becoming like what I'm thinking or close to it, what imagination am I, what muscle am I using? So I want to say to you guys, leave some imagination for the conversation. Now, I don't know if this is a quote by someone, but I think it works here. Leave some imagination for the conversation. And take that anywhere you see fit. Yeah. So, let's see what we're going to do in the last 5 minutes here. You guys been hanging out with me for a little while. Again, this is the Anytime, Anyday radio show. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. I'm kind of getting the vibe with this, getting the vibe. And I think guys would think that they'll know that it's a serious thing. I'll say by episode 10. By episode 10, it should be a thing. Now, I wanted to look at psychological barriers. We were talking about investing and, putting the money together and going after your careers and desires and things of that nature. And I was wondering, what would be some of those things that prevent us or prevent you? And I'm a work in progress too, so I'm not, doing this I'm pointing at anybody. So what would be the things that would hold us back from going after our desired dream or your career or your. So one would has here listed the fear of failure. And it's a plausible thought, and it's something that we should put in its own category. But it has the question would come up: what if I try and it doesn't work? And this is why we also tell people, don't be afraid to fail. You got to keep trying. The idea of failing publicly. That's the other thing. You don't want to fail publicly at all. Or wasting time can be paralyzing. That it could give that effect, but it's part of the process. So you can't be afraid to fail. In fact, many businesses have failed. Many business people have failed. The leader of the free world right now, I don't think he ever had a successful business. He has really failed. He's failing right now. Apparently, he has achieved. He has achieved this barrier of fear of failure. He's not afraid about failing at all. Poor guy. Then it has the other, and I think, again, people who are into psychology would get this, but doesn't mean that those of us who aren't into psychology want to get it. It talks about the imposter syndrome. Feeling like you're not good enough, qualified to pursue your dream. This especially is common in creative, entrepreneurial, or competitive fields. This takes me back to a time when I was at this church on Rogers Avenue. There's a young man, I think he was from, he might have been from St. Vincent, guitarist guy. And he played the acoustic guitar, and he was so amazing. And at the end of the program, I went up to him and I said, "Man, I love what you're doing. You sound really good. Do you have a record?" And the first thing he thought about was, he was like, "Well, it's not good enough to do a record yet." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, you didn't hear all the mistakes I was making? And then I was like, "You were making mistakes?" I was like, "Well, if you had mistakes, these are some good mistakes you were making." And, and no matter what I could tell him he was convinced that he was not good enough to get into a studio. In his mind, he felt that for him to go into a studio and record, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be, And guys, that is so far from the truth. You got people going forward with their dreams, they're making it happen, and they're not perfect, but they have the passion and the will to get into that mix, to get their desires. So, you've been hanging out with me for 2 hours. I'm going to continue this in episode 7. Could you imagine that? We have episode 7 coming up, and we're gonna dabble a little more into the whole investment thing, investing in yourself, and why it's okay to invest in yourself. You've been listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show, talking about the things I like to talk about. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. Shout out to you guys, Anytimers. Make it a great day.
You're listening to Muzilogmuzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.